Welcome, Hilltopper Nation. I'm Coach Greg Davis, and this is One-on-One, where you meet the personalities surrounding WKU Athletics. Show number one, we brought in a big one, Randy Lee, the voice of the Hilltoppers. Randy, thanks for being here today.
A big one. I've been losing weight.
Hey, it's only taken us 2 years to do this.
Yes,
So.
all right.
Hey, let's get after it here. Randy, paint what I always say, paint the picture. I say that a lot. You've heard me use that phrase before. Paint the picture. What was it like growing up in West Virginia?
You know, I grew up on a farm, and looking back on it, it probably taught me a lot of things like work ethic and things of that magnitude. I didn't really enjoy it that much. My father had grown up in a family of farmers, and I was the firstborn.
Okay.
So as you know, in your family, your father was in the furniture business, and he wanted you to follow in his footsteps. And my father had visions of his firstborn following in his footsteps and having a regular job, but being a farmer, never wanting to leave that farm and from that area. And for whatever reason, I just wasn't like that. So, it wasn't probably smooth sailing.
Sure.
But, we got through it, learned a lot. I think he finally learned to recognize maybe who I thought I would become, which has worked out. And in the end, it all worked out.
Now, what was the moment you decided, hey, this is my calling, I want to be a broadcaster?
I would say probably around my senior year of high school. I'd watched games, I listened to games on the radio since I was about 8 or 9 years old. Now, at that point in time, I had no idea I wanted to be an announcer, but it attracted me. I was cued into it. I wanted to be where those announcers were at, broadcasting sports. I grew up listening to 2 announcers on the radio, Jack Fleming, West Virginia University's announcer, and Fairmont State College's Frank Lee. So, my parents didn't drag me into it. I didn't have a friend drag me into it. I was a nerd kid who took his transistor radio to the classroom, ran the earplug up my sleeve so my teacher wouldn't see it, to listen to the daytime WVIAC college basketball tournament games. And I was just always like that.
Now, just looking at broadcasting overall, as you well know, I'm from the Ohio, Indiana area. So I grew up with Omar Williams over in Dayton. I grew up with Marty Brennan and Al Michaels, Indianapolis when we were in the area there. Bob Lamey doing football, and of course Don Fisher. What is it with the love affair with fans and their broadcasters?
I was a fan, and you mentioned Don Fisher. I'd say Don Fisher probably is my all-time favorite college sports announcer. When I first heard him for the very first time, accidentally, on a radio station being piped out of Fort Wayne, West Virginia to North Central West Virginia, or Fort Wayne, Indiana, I fell in love with his voice, fell in love with Indiana. So I think, for me, I think I fell in love with the announcers more than I did the schools. And the passion for the school followed. Not everyone's like that, of course. But I think if the announcer is fortunate enough to be at an institution or a pro franchise for a long period of time, that it's an expectation and a comfort level maybe for the fans to, hey, it's time to listen to whomever, and they like his calls. And it just, I think, maybe a break from their normal day job, and it's just a comfort level and familiarization with that particular person that they've been following broadcasting sports for a long time.
Now, what were the main announcers you listened to?
And Jack and Frank for me were my 2 guys. Milo Hamilton when he was with the Pirates. Sure. Bob Prince followed him, but I was probably too young of an age really to listen to a lot of Bob Prince. But when Milo was there, I listened to the Pirates all the time. I didn't have a lot of options. Back in those days, you didn't have XM radio.
Sure.
So if I could pick up the Pittsburgh station, I could get Cleveland late at night. I could get a little bit of the New York Yankees late at night. But I was a Milo Hamilton guy. And then for the network TV voices, the voice of my childhood is Kurt Gowdy.
Sure.
And then he was followed up by Dick Enberg. So probably on television, those are the 2. But the 2 guys I really followed passionately on the radio from probably 9 years old and up with Jack Fleming and Frank Lee.
Okay. Now, that kind of segues into announcers. And I'm going to give you a name of an announcer, Randy. We'll do 4 or 5 of these, and give me a description of them.
All right.
Okay. Vince Scully.
Perfection.
Okay.
A poet.
And a poet. Kevin Harlan.
One of the great voices of all time. passionate. I like announcers who are passionate. I'm more of a non-network style approach where it's down the middle and sort of, I would say, somewhat low-key. Kevin Harlan is on a network, and he's not low-key at all.
Iron Eagle.
Ian Eagle, probably my favorite current television play-by-play announcer. I like everything about him. I love his prep work. I love his humor. He's the best.
And we're going to end with Al Michaels.
Al Michaels, Al is known for his hockey call, but you and I know he was great in baseball, great in football, probably as well-rounded as a TV sportscaster as anyone maybe outside of Kurt Gowdy, because Kurt did all the sports, when he was at the top of his game. So I would compare Al to a Kurt Gowdy. Well-rounded, can do everything.
Now, looking at all the different sports and talking about versatility, what's the most difficult sport to broadcast?
I would say probably baseball. At least on the collegiate level, you have usually less to work with in regards to notes and things of that magnitude to help you learn about the other team. Also, it's I enjoy baseball, but I think you have to put more time into the prep work in baseball, because for the most part in a baseball broadcast, there's not a lot. The action is not going on. I think the great baseball announcers that you mentioned, Vin, greatest of all time, he painted a picture and told you stories in between the pitches that made the baseball game interesting. If you just rely on, here's a pitch, swinging a ground ball to third, that would get boring over a period of time. So I think baseball is the most challenging.
Now we're going to move on from some of these questions and go to something fun here. You and I are both foodies, so Hilltopper Nation travels well. Give us 5 restaurants in CUSA when fans are traveling beginning this fall to see the games.
Wow, that's tough.
Hey, they don't have to be 1 through 5. You can put a 1 beside all of them.
All right. Now, I don't know the names of all of them, okay? I'll start off with the steakhouse on the old ranch about 30 miles outside of El Paso, where they used to film a lot of movies. That's number 1. I don't recall the name. Stockman's Steakhouse, I believe. But it's about a 30-minute drive northeast of El Paso. Okay. So that's number 1. Big fan of Ponchachulas in little downtown of Ruston. I'm always at Ponchachulas. That's really good Cajun food. So that would be number 2. Let's see.
They don't have to be in any order.
All right.
I'll give you a break.
I like the Boulevard Brewery. They're next door to the MTSU campus. It's about a long punt away from the football stadium, so I would put that at number 3. Oh, let's see. Oh, we got to go to Miami. No, Miami's number 1.
There you go.
Okay, number 1.
I know which one this is.
Catch of the Day. Catch of the Day is my all-time favorite restaurant in the world. So Catch of the Day in Miami. My favorite Catch of the Day story, Butch Davis was in there one day when we were eating, Hal and I, and it's in January, and we went over and said hello to Coach Butch Davis, who at that time was a coach of FIU. Butch he saw our WKU stuff. He goes, "What are you boys doing in town?" I said, "Oh, we're here to broadcast the game." I said, "Coach, do you eat here all the time?" "Do you eat here?" "I eat here all the time. It's the greatest place ever." I said, "Yeah, Hal and I are coming here. We come here all the time." Butch goes, "Well, what are you guys here for?" "We're here to broadcast the game." He goes, "Well, who are you broadcasting for?" We had our WKU stuff on. "Western Kentucky University." "Well, who are you playing?" "We're playing FIU." Of course, he's the coach of FIU. You're playing your basketball team like in 2 hours. He had no idea.
Hey, Butch's mind was somewhere else on recruiting at that time, obviously.
And my 5th, I probably would be Rocco's Tacos in Boca Raton. Even though FAU is not in the conference now, they get a wild card because quite often when we play FIU, we stay in Boca Raton and drive down to FIU. So Rocco's Tacos.
There you go, and I've been there before. I enjoy it. And let's also say the head of my sport, Mike Gaddy, head trainer here, also likes Catch of the Day. You and I both know that.
Yes.
So, hey, final question here, Randy. I understand you've started a local business. Seems to be getting traction. There's a lot of talk in Bowling Green. A lot of people are jumping on, and you've been very busy lately. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, it's called Just You Shuttle. We transport people to and from primarily the Nashville airport, but we'll go anywhere. In fact, in about 24 hours after this particular interview is over, we're going to the Bourbon Trail. I'm taking 9
wow.
realtors for an entire
Okay.
day at the Bourbon Trail. So I guess I throw my my driving hat and
There you
spend a
go.
day with them. So yeah, we're able to take people to and from the airport. I have 6 drivers right now that work for me, and everything's going well. The drivers appear to be happy. The clients appear to be happy, and it's certainly, I think, something that's been needed here in Bowling Green. Consistent coverage. We only take one. We only take one flight at a time. We don't bunch of different flights in our vehicles, and we do it that way. That's why it's called just You Shuttle.
Fantastic. Now, if someone wants to get a hold of you about a shuttle, how would they reach out to you?
Other than seeing me at the tennis court or on my bike riding around
Okay,
town,
yeah.
call or text 615-982-5775.
Fantastic. And even if they need to go to Louisville Airport or Evansville Airport, you can make it
We'll
happen.
do it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, Randy, thanks for being with us.
Enjoyed being your first guest.
You got it. For our director, Jared McDonald, I'm Greg Davis. Thanks for joining us one-on-one.